How Not to Summon a Demon Lord starts with the main character, Takama Shikamoto, a skinny-looking hikikomori who spends his days playing video games and watching anime summaries. He plays the most powerful character of a demon lord called Diablo in the online game Cross Reverie, and is also considered the best player ever by his fellow gamers. One day, something strange happens. Takuma wakes up in a different world similar to the world of Cross Reverie as none other than his game character Diablo, a muscular, grey-haired demon with horns. He is worked up by two girls who have summoned him as part of a ritual. However, because of a special ring he has, instead of becoming their servant, the girls become his slave. Takuma realizes that he had somehow entered the world of his favorite online game. Although he is just as powerful as Diablo, he still isn't good at talking to people. And to hide his true identity as a shy person who mainly exists online, Takuma decides to act confident, dramatic, and arrogant like the character of the Demon Lord. The blonde, airhead elf girl named Shira L. Greenwood happily greets him, while the serious-natured cat girl is a bit hesitant before revealing that her name is Rem Galil. Rem is really a Pantherian who became a summoner. They try to cast an enslavement spell on him, but because he is wearing the Demon Lord's ring, which reflects all magic, they became enslaved by him instead and cannot remove the magical slave collars that now bind their necks. They travel together to Fortress City and stay at an inn where they meet Celestine Baudelaire, the head of the Maids Association. The two summoners are unable to remove their collars, and Celestine tells them that this is important for the fate of the world. She promises to try and help them. Suspecting Rem is keeping secrets, Diablo forces her to confess to him in private that the Demon Lord Krebskulm was sealed inside her body ever since she was born. Since Celestine is the only one who knows about it, they have been working on a way to extract and slay Krebskulm without killing her. Upon learning this, Diablo vows to help Rem as well. Later, when Diablo takes a walk, a disgruntled maid called Galak attacks him with a giant, fire-breathing salamander, and is shocked when Diablo easily slays it. He declares he is a Diablo, the Demon Lord from another world. The following day, while walking around the demi-human district populated by all sorts of magical beings, Diablo and the girls visit the Adventurers Guild and register as adventurers so they can start earning money for a living. They meet Sylvia, the Guild Master, who accepts them into the Guild and immediately gives them their first quest, defeating a Madara snake in the man-eating woods. After they enter the forest, Diablo and the girls are ambushed by 11 archers who have come to see Shira, revealing that she is the princess of the elven kingdom called Greenwood. Shira had fled because she was unhappy that her brother was forcing her to marry him and have his child. Shira refuses to return with the elves and a fight breaks out. The elves attack Diablo, who easily defeats them by casting a spell that freezes the terrain in a huge circle around him and immobilizes the archers. Galak, the one who told the elves where to find the girls and Diablo and desires vengeance against him, comes out of hiding and scolds the elves but retreats after being reprimanded by Rem. Shira tells the elves to return and tell her brother, Kira, she is never coming back. The next day, Diablo and Shira are tasked with delivering refreshments to the guards at the bridge of Ulug. Diablo is attacked by Emil Bischelberger, who thinks the girls are his unwilling slaves, but is quickly defeated and the girls explain the situation to him, after which he leaves. As Diablo and Shira make the delivery, the guards report a massive army of fallen is approaching. Aware the guards will not survive without help, Diablo volunteers to defend the bridge. Back in the city, Celestine tells Rem that she fired Galak for his actions, then mentions that she suspects that Diablo is actually a fallen. Galak demanded not to be fired and stabs himself with a cursed black. It causes and transforms into the alligator-like fallen called Gregor, who targets Rem and destroys everything in his path. Diablo defeats the fallen left and right But an emotionless girl carrying halberd appears before Diablo at the fort, calling herself Idol God and the strongest lancer and commander of the Fallens, and challenges him to a duel. Gregor pursues Celestine and Rem, aiming to kill Celestine to destroy her protective barrier around the city. When they are cornered, Emil and the several adventurers defend them. Meanwhile, Idol God is unable to significantly harm Diablo. When a messenger explains the situation with Gregor, Diablo throws a massive spell called White Nova that wipes out the fallen army and most of the land, but surprisingly only Idol God survives in a crater, mostly unharmed, and she acknowledges him as a demon lord. Diablo teleports himself and Shira back in time to save Emil from dying. He's vengeful for all the people Gregor hurt and killed, and tortures him with gravity magic before finally sealing him in a dimension of darkness. 10 days later, Silver delivers a message saying Shira must be returned to Greenwood within 10 days, or else there will be war. When Diablo learns Kira has put a bounty on her, he is furious. The group meets the lord of the city, Chester Ray Galford, who asks them to do their best to prevent a war, since Shira still refuses to return to Greenwood, and he assigns the Imperial Knight Alicia Cristella to help them. Diablo gets a scythe to fight weaker opponents physically without using magic. It's not long before Shira is abducted by bounty hunters, but she is rescued by the group and Emil. The next day, Diablo and others find out about a slave caravan that had come to town and visited it, hoping that the slave owner would now know how to break the enslavement spell that binds Shira and Rem. The slave owner, Medius, who was once Celestine's colleague in studying magic, teaches Diablo how to see the flow of magic, but is too complicated to easily destroy. Medius also detects Krebskulm's presence within Rem, but Shira thinks she is saying Rem is pregnant. Diablo dreams of his childhood, where many of his old friends would use him and then abandon him. When he is alone with Shira, he finds that he can easily craft potion. After the group returns to the inn, they hear a flute outside the door and a blonde male elf enters. It is Kira, who immediately tells Shira to return to the Greenwood with him. After she refuses, he tells her to think it over once more, and when he comes back the next day, he'll accept whatever she decides. The next morning, Diablo and Shira hear Kira's coach. Shira immediately tells Diablo she is going back to Greenwood after all and joins her brother outside. Diablo is left confused and sad about being abandoned again. When Alicia and Rem return to the inn, Diablo tells them what happened, and they conclude that Shira was brainwashed by Kira's flute and the group plots her rescue. Kira has chained Shira up in his tent and asks her about her relationship with Diablo, but doesn't believe her. The group arrives in time to save Shira from Kira, having already defeated his elf gods, but Kira uses the flute to hypnotize her again and make her lie that she wants to stay with him. However, Diablo uses his authority as the master of her caller to make her tell the truth. The two spells clash in a flash of green light, and the enslavement spell overpowers the brainwashing, which lets Shira claim that she wants to stay with Diablo and Rem. This enrages Kira, and he summons a monster called the Force Hydra, a huge dragon-like beast with 4 heads. It is so strong that even summoning it is forbidden. The Hydra destroys everything in its sight. Diablo destroys one of its heads with a spell, but it regenerates quickly. Shira tells Diablo that Hydra has a core that will unsummon it if it is hit, but instead of searching for the core, Diablo uses an electricity spell on the Hydra's body which destroys the core. He prepares to kill Kira, but Shira blocks him. Suddenly, Chester and his guards appear out of nowhere and behead Kira. He declares that they are now at war with Greenwood because Kira had brought elf soldiers to his territory. Chester then orders his guards to exterminate the elf troops hidden in the forest and to capture Shira, revealing that he was waiting for an excuse to start a war with the Greenwood. All alone, Diablo fights against Chester. He surprises Chester with a thunder spell and brings him into his knees, but lets him go, saying he will destroy him if he tries to attack them again. Alicia threatens to report Chester's unethical actions to the king, so he surrenders and withdraws his troops. The group heals the elf troops with potions and comforts Shira over the loss of her brother. While Alicia has an audience with the king, she runs into Sadler, an arrogant paladin who is going to Faltra City to investigate Diablo. Shira summons a bird called a turkey shot and binds it to her with a collar. Diablo teaches her how to use it to share what it sees with its owner to prove her aim with arrows. Adelgrad meets Shira and Rem, saying she is not there to fight but to confirm that Rem has the crab skull within her. She says that a ritual to be done in 3 days at Starfall Tower to remove the crab skull without harming Rem. That night, Diablo, Rem, and Alicia meet Adelgrad on the top of the tower where she has prepared everything for the ritual. It results in the emergence of a towering, hideous demon that transforms into a cute little girl. The crab skull has amnesia, and when Shira gives her biscuits, she decides not to wipe out the mortals. They agree that they don't have to kill her now. Alicia protests, but Adelgrad is loyal to the crab skull and accepts it. Disappointed in the crab skull's weaker form and a refusal to kill, the fallen flying creature called Eulerex appears and attacks her, but Adelgrad and Diablo drive him away. As they approach Faltra City, Adelgrad leaves since the fallen are not welcome. They change the crab skull's name to Clem to prevent scaring others. Alicia remembers how she refused from abusive parents and superiors and wants crab skull to wipe out all the mortal races. Meanwhile, Sarah turns back to flesh and vows revenge. The group tells Celestine about Clem, and she is happy that Demon Lord is not evil. Away from Shira and Diablo, Alicia betrays Rem and Clem to Sadler and they are arrested. She plans to traumatize Clem until she returns to her true self. Sadler takes them to a church where he intends to torture Rem until she confesses to worshipping a demon lord. Diablo and Shira look for them while a massive army of fallen marches towards Faltra City. Clem tries to protect Rem, but when Sadler, who thinks he is God and must dispense justice, attempts to strike her, Rem shields her with her body and is impaled several times. Clem is provoked to return to her original form as a giant black demon with massive horns and several red eyes. Sarah attempts to control her demon form but fails as the power is too much for him and his eyes bleed out. She kills him, blows up the church, and flies out while Diablo and Shira arrive. Alicia joins the army of Fallen, and she, Adelgard, and Eulerex celebrate the return of the true crab skull. Shira treats Rem's injuries with health potions while Diablo battles the crab skull and wounds her a good deal, but he cannot overpower her. After Emil protects the girls, Rem reveals she is okay, which makes the crab skull to revert to Clem. Ultimately, the army of the Fallen turns on Alicia to punish her for her failure, but Adelgard holds them off and tells her to flee. Sylvie attempts to kill Clem for the destruction she caused, but changes her mind when Diablo casts a spell to bind Clem to him as a slave cannot disobey their master, and also so that she doesn't lose her mind and go on a demonic rampage again. That night, Alicia returns to the inn and threatens Shira with a knife while ordering Clem to heal a badly wounded Adelgard she snuck into the city. Clem agrees, but then orders Adelgard to never kill mortals again. Rem asks Alicia why she did what she did, and Alicia reveals her past suffering and desire to wipe out the mortal races because she feels humanity as a whole is ugly and doesn't deserve to exist. Upon learning that Clem will no longer kill, Alicia is at her wits' end and tries to kill herself to atone for her sins. But Diablo stops her and tells her to find a new purpose to live for, and even Rem forgives her. The next day, Adelgard disguises herself as a human and mingles with the people. Alicia says goodbye to everyone, filled with hope as she leaves for a new journey to find herself. Season 1 of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord ends with Shira and Rem asking Diablo to choose either one of them, but he refuses, reasoning that he is a Demon Lord and only does what he wants. And the three of them then continue their adventures. Just to know, the first season of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord was ranked as the 7th most viewed anime of 2019 by Crunchyroll and also has a second season to watch out for.